Hello, my name is Pablo Moscato, and this is joint work with Luke Mathieson from the University of Technology, Sydney, and I am with the University of Newcastle. And we are going to show you how you can use problem reductions in an unexpected way to bring amazing speed ups to some problems. So here is a background. So we know that polynomial time reductions between computational problems are essential in computer science. We use them to classify problems according to their computational complexity, and we use rarely to see how an algorithm for a problem can help you to solve another one. You have to pay a cost to do the transformation, and sometimes it may be that you can have an efficient way, a polynomial time free ride, in a sense, that you can move to the other problem and solve it with an algorithm that exists for another problem B, let's say. So the concept is not new. You can say, well, that's true, and there is no widespread practice of this, and there is little theory as well. Sometimes it is hidden in heuristics. Some people talk, for example, about static perturbation of instances or the use of dynamically changing the instance, as for example in guided local search. But in fact, many software solutions have already been developed for NP-hard problems, so it will be good to really exploit this idea more. So this study is a case in point. Really, this is a call to action for everybody to look at the possibility that this can give. In the past, we have very good results with Cota from Spain, Carlos Cota. We used this approach for a problem in phylogenetics, and we even paid the price of solving an NP-hard problem, which was a minimum weight Hamiltonian path problem. And we use an exact solver for a problem that obtains the optimal solution. Then the solution is used as an upper bound for the original problem that we wanted to solve. And the whole approach resulted in several orders of magnitude speed up in comparison with directly solving the problem that we had at the beginning. So then we wonder, is this piggybacking on others' people work something that can have much more to offer than just some sporadic successes, some anecdotal evidence about that? Can we achieve fantastic speed ups by the introduction of clever new reductions? So we would like just to work a little bit, but be wise on how we do this. So here is methodology of our paper that we are presenting today. We are addressing two problems: the Hamiltonian cycle problem, which is the target thing that we want to solve, and we have a leading solver for the traveling salesman, the well-known Concord suite. So Concord is identified as a program which, although it's exact, we say that this is an anytime complete memetic algorithm because it uses individual search techniques like local search, but it also uses techniques like tour merging, which is a form of multi-parent recombination. So we characterize this as an exact, let's say, memetic algorithm, an anytime complete memetic algorithm. So we aim to demonstrate that not only the reduction from one problem to another matters, but also that it can make a massively computational difference in practical sense. So then we consider a series of questions to address the big question that we present to you. Is the standard reduction, the one that you have learned as an undergraduate, from the Hamiltonian cycle problem to the traveling salesman, an effective computational approach, or is there something better? When you are doing this, you have to choose weights. Does the particular choice matter? There is a concept that we have introduced in the past called frustration. Does avoiding some type of frustration in an instance may help? And the most puzzling one, does the ordering of the elements in an instance matter? Because you are solving this with Concord. It may be that the change on the names of the cities that you are passing to the TSP solver may change the results. So this is our experimental design. We tested this hypothesis that there may be some changes with 5 different reductions. We used the standard reduction, which is the classic, that's our control group, and 4 different ones based on the transitive closure of a graph, the exponential weighting that you can put, one that is looking at frustration called the no-2s, and one that looks at using a very good linear local minima that creates a different ordering, and that's called the LKH ordering reduction. So then we compute the time that Concord takes to reach a solution, and what we are interested is to see if for some instances we see significant changes versus the standard reduction, that is the one that you have learned in class. So we are working with the challenge dataset put by Flinders University, which is a set of 1,000 very difficult instances for Hamiltonian cycle. The first 20 instances are going to be our pilot study, and we are trying to identify if instance-specific differences exist and to have a qualitative understanding of the effects. Our experiments were run on what today can be considered a normal or standard workstation, and each one of the runs of Concord had a time limit of a little bit above 10 minutes. In the first case, the pilot study had 20 instances. They were all of them 3 regular graphs, with exception of only one. Here is one example. The case of instance 13 is one of these 3 regular graphs, and you will see that if you put it with a particular layout, you see that they are like 4 concentric circles where the nodes are located. There are connections that they are very symmetric, but there are some places where that symmetry is broken. So we call it the twisted necklace, because it looks like a necklace, but somewhere is twisted. And in this instance, we have a single twist, so we can show it, but in general, there were several other twists in other instances. So this may be that we can call a new parameter. There may be something related to the number of twists that make an instance difficult. So one of the preliminary conclusions is that there was one instance in particular that was solved with the transitive closure reduction in 9.08 seconds. And no other approach was able to solve it even within the time limit of 10 minutes. So there may be some critical asymmetries that make one instance more difficult than others. And that means that for some particular reductions, some of these instances may be easier or not. So here are the results of the whole dataset. You can see that the results are instance dependent, but there are some clear winners and losers. And I invite you to look at these results in the paper to have an idea. So whenever you have a blank, is because a particular reduction has not been useful to solve that particular instance. Instance 88, for example, was only solved by this exponential weighting reduction, and it shows that there are like clusters of nodes, and they are connected by some bridges among them, and Concord was able to solve it in 44 seconds, and is well within the time limit, but no other method was able to solve it. If we look at the total number of instances of this 100, we have seen that the transitive closure-based reduction was able to solve 50 out of 100. And if we look at the speed up factor that we observe when other different methods have been able to solve the same instances, we see that it was around 142, and the speed up is at least 537 for those instances for which none of the other methods were able to solve. So we see that this is an important message, that there is something here to look, because it's very unusual that you get speed ups of the order of 4 orders of magnitude by reformulating the problem in a different way. So in terms of discussion, yes, we have found that the answer for all our questions was yes, but there are instances dependence, and we have shown experimental evidence that we have speed ups of at least 4 orders of magnitude for some particular reductions. We found also that for some instances, the change on the order of the cities may improve the performance. That was something that we wanted to see if it happens. and we have evidence that it does for some instances, and this means that it could lead to new computational intelligence methods in which we try to learn new strategies for obtaining such orderings to speed up the solution by a powerful solver. And additionally, it may foster the development of a new mathematical theory to explain this phenomenon. So the use of the transitive closure reduction has shown to speed up the results. We have obtained more answers, 50 in comparison with 33 of the standard reduction. And we saw that some other reductions like the new no2s has helped to solve some instances that they were not solved otherwise. So we think that more research can help understand under which general conditions and under which combination of heuristics for problem reduction methods can outperform the intrinsic elements of the heuristic. So it is tempting to link some of the algorithm's behavior observed in graph with other properties. One important one is tree width or branch width, and we look at this because there are some new algorithms that have been published based on low tree width. And here are some algorithms, and we are looking at some of these instances that we have solved. And you see that these algorithms for low tree width are doing very well. And here are the results of our previous table. And you see that's full of blanks. So some instances have not been solved. And tree width, low algorithm specific for low tree width may help. But we also have seen this also phenomenon. We are able to solve some of these instances, and these algorithms have not been able. So it is not the case that the techniques that we are presenting are solving these instances because they have low tree width, because these algorithms are not able to do it here. So it seems that low tree width does not necessarily correlate with the speedups that we have observed, and there may be other types of graph parameters and other properties of the reductions that need to be looked to create even more powerful strategies. So what are our conclusions? We have seen that polynomial time reductions are a wise way to obtain dramatic speedups in solving times. There are a few constraints on how to do it. You can have only the requirement that the reduction has to be done in polynomial time, for example, when NP completeness, but in other practical sense, you can find other types of reductions. Concord as a memetic algorithm, we have been doing this with the idea of creating a useful fitness landscape for the solver, because we have been creating a very good and correlated local optima. So we think that the work of the future is with you too, because there is a massive untapped potential here to exploit the use of pre-processing techniques that can dramatically accelerate complete anytime memetic algorithms, as well as other types of exact algorithms and meta heuristics. So the results indicate that we have a challenge now. It's a call of action to find ways to employ generalized solvers rather than specialized solver. There are challenges in doing this, but there are also great opportunities. And we think that this is an area where both theoreticians and practitioners can collaborate by research on graph properties that can be exploited, and also properties of the resulting matrices that you are creating, for example, in this case, from Hamiltonian Cycle to Traveling Salesman, but in other cases, you have to look at the properties of your original problem and the properties of the instances you are creating for the other problem where you have a solver. And we think that the future is also for computational intelligence methods that can find more, I would say, in better ways than humans, new types of reductions that can be of practical use and can provide speed up by learning from data. So with us, we think that's really finished our paper, and we think that our contribution is just a first step in a very promising direction, and really we need you with us. Thank you very much for the attention, and hope to see you soon.